Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Happy to have you all on this beautiful Saturday. Just got done. Hit the gym this morning. Got a little bit of work done with the agency. Getting my water in. I'm a little bit behind. I gotta get going. But I'm here. Got the mic and ice ready. Got the Scooby snacks on deck. And we're ready to rock and roll, baby. Bit of a weird Saturday, to say the least. Obviously, the market's a little bit down. Some people still trying to kind of figure out things after, obviously, the summit yesterday. So just wanted to kind of jump in. You know, I've been looking at a lot of stuff just like the last 24-ish hours or so, looking at some data, looking at some analytics, just kind of trying to get an understanding or feeling of what the market's doing. And I'm not going to lie, guys, it feels like it's coiling up. It feels like it's coiling up for a rather strong move. In which direction, obviously, I'm not sure, but we're going to go over all that today. I'll give you guys my general thoughts, my thesis about what's going to happen, what I'm doing now, and much more. So we have a good bit to get into today, not too much. Obviously, we did do a 4-hour live stream yesterday, so we're probably not cracking 4 hours today, but definitely another hour, 2 hours just hanging out, getting it done. And yeah, happy to have you all. Welcome in, everyone. Let's see. What's up, everyone? Yeah, of course they have Scooby Snacks. Lock in, shake back. All right. I see a lot of the good peeps in there. Domination, how's it going? Who spells their name just like yours and looks exactly like you? Nah, that's Kate O'Neill. Red, Stein RR in the building. Runs the notification gang here at the Tyler Hill Investing headquarters. Dumbest weekend hack. The guy streaming again after a 4-hour stream really does have brain damage. Shout out to you, bro. Oh, government bowel movement tracker is buying Hawk Tua. Abdul, what's up, homie? Welcome in. Rashid, how's it going? Arcana, what's up, homie? Long time. How's it going, everybody? Welcome in. All right. Look, let's get into it. I know you guys have been probably wondering what the hell this market's up to, so we're going to try to break it down for you today. Before we do get into it, obviously, I will let you guys know I have been back, and I've really been posting a ton over on Instagram. I post some stories. I've been getting some educational content going, some updates on what's happening in the market. So please make sure to go follow me at TylerHillYT_. Posting a lot of stuff there over the last couple days, and I plan on just updating you all just whenever I'm going to do live streams, when I'm recording, behind the scenes stuff. So if you want to take a little bit of a peek behind the curtains, go follow me on Instagram at TylerHillYT. That is linked down below. Now, looking at R Masters TV, how you doing? Okay, so looking at this, let's actually just jump into the market from a macro perspective first and foremost. Obviously, we know we had the summit yesterday, and since the summit, not a lot has honestly happened. A little bit of pumpage, a little bit of dumpage, but not a ton going on, quite frankly. Bitcoin down about 3% on the 24-hour, which does sound bad, but the reality of it is, if you just look at the dailies, right, Bitcoin is still basically in the same place that it's been in since. I mean, shoot, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The last 10 days or so, Bitcoin's really been in the same range, which we'll talk about in a second here. Looking at Ethereum is just slightly up. Tether, that thing's flat, of course. XRP is a little bit down on the 24 hours, but not really. I mean, which looks a little bit odd to me. You know, you look at the last 7 days, it's still rather flat. You look at Solana, the last 7 days, still flat, even though it's down over the 8% the last 24 hours. Seeing a little bit of dumpage now that I'm really looking at it from many of your macro altcoins, some of your bigger ones, and it does seem to be leading some other ones down, but just a weird market, to say the least. You know, you look at the daily, and it's just not great, not fantastic. You got things like Ondo, Trump, SWE, and many more down over the last 24 hours. So a little bit more of a red market than even I realized before I got on stream. But yeah, definitely not a fantastic market. But it's mostly, if we look at, say, the month, it's mostly these cryptos just kind of re-entering back into these same ranges that they've been in. SHIB has been on a consistent downtrend, but many of your bigger ones, like where's our you look at Solana for the month, right? It's been here since February 24th, February 25th in the same range. We're basically just continuing to erase the gains that were created after Trump announced the strategic reserve. That's just kind of what the market's up to. You look at the month for something like HBAR, just a lot of gains, a bit of a pullback. So yeah, bit of an ugly day. Okay. Now, kind of diving into the charts a little bit, because it is going to be very important that we understand what is happening. I want to first and foremost focus on Bitcoin. I'm going to try to paint a rather clear picture for you all, but it's going to take some explaining. So let's just kind of recap. So Bitcoin's price for a while was in the HMZ. Shout out to Mr. Nibbles. And it lost bottom side support. I mean, this isn't anything new to you guys. We were going sideways for a while, and we were maintaining pretty strongly above kind of like that $90,000 to $95,000 area. But then once we did capitulate, we really capitulated. Saw Bitcoin hit about $79,000, $78,000 rebounded a little bit up, flipped that previous point of support up here at 95K into resistance, and now Bitcoin is just rather sideways, okay? So we've been in a bit of sideways movement, sideways motion. Well, things did kind of get a bit exciting as we did get the strategic reserve announcement, but that was immediately eliminated by losses as people did continue to take profit, pulling all of their positions out. We did see a little bit of selling pressure from the institutions as well. As you can see here, I think I posted it on Twitter. Yeah, as you can see here, you know, some of these last days, I mean, we saw some pretty large sell-offs. 1 point something, yeah, what is that number? 1 point something million, I believe, or billion, couple hundred millions of dollars, right, of sales, right? Pretty ugly stuff here, very ugly stuff. And so with that in mind, obviously Bitcoin itself has been somewhat just stuck in this little sideways channel. Now, a lot of people are misunderstanding what's happening right here. And this is the first thing I need you to understand before I can explain what's boiling up in the market. Because remember, the title of this video is Something Big is About to Happen. And what I mean by that is something's boiling up, like it's about to pop. And I'll explain that. But in order to get to that point, you need to understand what's happening here, okay? So what's happening in the market right now is that Bitcoin is leading the market. It's dominating the market. It's setting the tone. It's setting the trend. Bitcoin, although it is actually underperforming some things because Bitcoin dominance is down, in general is leading. When Bitcoin pumps, market pumps. When Bitcoin's either sideways or downwards, market dumps. So Bitcoin's still very much so in control. I mean, matter of fact, if we just go look at Altcoin Season Index, we can see kind of how things are leading right now, right? It's Bitcoin season, quite clear as day, right? We're very far into Bitcoin season, in my opinion. And so Bitcoin's leading the market. Now, knowing that Bitcoin's leading the market, Bitcoin is stuck in between two very important ranges. This is something we actually talked about on yesterday's live stream. We have a top side range, a top side resistance level, and a bottom side support level. And what's happening with Bitcoin right now is it's dribbling in between these 2 points. The resistance to the top side is being supported by the bears. The support to the bottom side is being supported by the bulls. The bears are trying to force the price through this golden zone to the downside. The bulls are trying to force the price through the golden zone to the upside. There's a battle happening right now. You know, matter of fact, what's kind of funny, which people kind of made fun of me for, which, you know, I guess hindsight is always a fun thing to play with here, but I actually made a video. Which one was that? Was it this one? No. Let's see. Signal flashes. This one. Let's be realistic. Crypto dump is back. It was this one. Okay. So 3 days ago, I made a video. I said, hey, this is the moment of truth, right? I told you all what we're seeing right now is a battle, and that you're going to see the bulls here and you're going to see the bears here, and they're going to be constantly fighting. They're going to be constantly fighting over and over and over again. Well, what do you know? We're getting that battle. Now, the first thing you might ask is, well, what are these two resistance, right? Like, how do we get the golden zone? And what I want to do in today's live stream is be a little bit more educational, right? Especially in the first hour or so. I want to be a little more educational and teach you guys what I'm talking about. Kind of want to propagate some of these things so that you can then understand them and understand them, you know, from a more intrinsic perspective, and you can grow on them, come up with your own ideas, etc. So let's just go ahead. Now that you understand that there's a battle happening right here, let's just get rid of everything. Let's just get rid of everything. And let me show you how you figure out where this battle is occurring. Because if you just look at Bitcoin's price right now, you might just look at this and say, what the hell is this? Right? Like, what is it? Like, what is Bitcoin doing? It's like up and then down, and then there's a wick and then a wick and then a wick up. And then like, it's kind of odd, right? This is a weird little thing that's happening. But actually, it's not really all that complicated. You see, in the crypto market, in most asset classes that I've studied, which I'm trying to think if there's a one where I've not noticed this is effective. I don't think so. But in most asset classes, you're going to have things called Fibonaccis that you can use when you are doing technical analysis or trading. Now, the Fibonaccis are just a set of levels in which you can expect liquidity to be at. Now, how did they discover this? It's kind of just a force by nature. You see the Fibonaccis in all things in life, but when it comes to crypto, they usually look a little bit of something like this. Now, what you may end up seeing if you put on the Fibonaccis yourself, it's going to look, yours would look a little bit more like that. You ever seen this indicator where they have like all the lines and stuff like that? These are called the Fibonaccis, okay? And these levels give you a very clear understanding of where you can expect the price to find liquidity, meaning where will you expect the price to see resistance and support levels? You can oftentimes expect that some sort of rejections or some sort of battles will happen at what are called these Fibonacci levels, okay? And so what I like to pay attention to are the two Fibonaccis called the 618 and the 786 Fibonacci levels. These are the two most important in my opinion. There are many more, as I did show you, right? There are many more levels that you can use. I don't really find those ones that valuable. I think the 618 to 786 is the most important, and it creates what we call the golden pocket. And the golden pocket is the level that you can expect the most amount of resistance or the most amount of support. So if a crypto, for example, say we draw on our Fibonacci's, which I'll show you how to do here in a second, and there's a key level of, let's just call this support, that's fine. There's a Fibonacci support level right down here. The 618 to 786. I don't know why those 8s aren't working, but you get the point. And the price of Bitcoin is going down towards that 618 to 786 level. This is the level where you can expect the most that Bitcoin is going to bounce. If Bitcoin will bounce, it will bounce off this level. Almost always. It's a huge percentage chance. I haven't updated my percentages in the background for the Fibonacci's on support, so I can't give you a good estimate, but it's a high amount, okay? And what I mean by that is when Bitcoin's falling, if it's heading down towards the 618 to 786 level, there's a very high chance that it'll bounce. The thing is, though, this 618 to 786 level can either act as a door, which, you know, you can walk through, or a wall. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're approaching the 618 to 786 level, it's either going to be a wall or a door. The door means that you're going to walk through that door, and when you go through that, the likelihood of you absolutely nuking from there are very high. But again, most times it acts like a wall, which will reject you back in the opposite direction. So this is the decision-making zone. All of that to say, this is the decision-making zone. This is the level in which you will generally expect to see the price either make this decision or make this decision. So now that you understand, and it works the same way, right? If this was resistance, for example, if this was a Fibonacci resistance level and we were going up to it, if we get past it, the door to a breakout opens up. If we get rejected by it, the door to the downside happens, right? This is what happens. And that's why these golden pockets are so important. That's why you got to understand, I use the Fibonacci's every single day. Because people might say that technical analysis is, you know, looking at the stars and looking at the moon, whatever you may say. But at the end of the day, what I know is I've looked at these charts every day for years. And these Fibonacci levels hardly ever fail in the sense that they rarely don't show me quite clearly what's happening. So let me show you how we can look at this. Now, in order to draw in something like your Fibonacci's, you have to understand the way in which they work. Okay, you have to understand in which the way they work. And we're going to get to the point. I know I'm breaking it down a lot, but again, let's be a little educational on this Saturday. So it's called a Fibonacci. Most of your Fibonacci's you'll use are called Fibonacci retracement levels. Now, the act of retracing is simply just going back over something you've already done. So if you were tracing something on a paper and then you traced back over it, it's called a retracement. Okay. Now, if you were walking through the woods and you had to go back out the same way you came in, what, you're going to follow your footsteps or are you going to retrace? So a Fibonacci retracement level tells you when, say, for example, you go up. If the price starts coming back down, retracing this move that it made, where can you expect that retracement to meet liquidity? Let me say it again. So if I'm going up, for example, and I start going back in the direction that I came from, these Fibonacci levels will tell me where I can expect to find liquidity as I'm retracing that move. So if I'm trying to figure out, as Bitcoin's price is going down, hey, where is the support at? Where can we expect this move to do this? I'm going to draw in my Fibonacci's. How do we do that? We're going to go in. If you're trying to find support, you start at the bottom. Beginner, basic, friendly. You can switch it up a little bit, but you don't. If you're new, don't. Okay? When you're trying to find support, you start at the bottom. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your Fibonacci's and you're going to click. Don't do anything else. You see how my hand's off the mouse? Don't do anything else. And it'll automatically start applying it. And then you're going to take it from the bottom of the move to the top of the move. This is going to give you your Fibonacci support levels, your Fibonacci retracement levels. Now, there are things called Fibonacci extension levels. We'll talk about that in a little while. These are called your Fibonacci support levels, okay? Now, what does this mean? Well, if Bitcoin's price starts coming back down, it might fall all the way back down towards this golden pocket. This golden pocket is the most likely level to reject the price back up. If it does not, the likelihood is that it is going to continue down farther and faster. Acceleration often happens the second you lose this zone. So this is either going to act like a door to the downside or a wall protecting you from going to the downside. The other way that you can look at it, another way you can look at it is like it's a trampoline. Okay, so you can say, all right, I climbed to the top of this house and I jumped off the house and I hit the trampoline. Hopefully, I don't break through the trampoline and then I'm going to fall into the hole under the trampoline. If I don't break the trampoline, I'm going to bounce off the trampoline and go back upwards. Get the point? Now, let's draw this the other way. So these are support levels, okay? These are support levels. You can also use Fibonacci's to track resistance levels. What does that mean? Well, let's say Bitcoin's price had been going downwards and it starts going upwards. Remember, it's retracing this move. It's retracing this move. It is going back in the direction it came from, okay? As we start going upwards, we can use the Fibonacci's to get an idea of where we might see the price get rejected back downwards. So as we're going upwards, say for example, I open up a long trade right here. I just accidentally timed the bottom. I open up a long trade right here and I'm wondering, hey, where should I close my long trade? Where are we most likely to see this move upwards end? Your Fibonacci levels, your 618786 level, your golden pocket. So what you're gonna do is you need to find the Fibonacci resistance level. So how do you do that? What you're gonna do is you remember how when I told you want to find, when you find support, you start at the bottom, which makes sense, right? Because support is below you. Well, it's the opposite now. So whenever I want to find resistance levels to the top side, I have to start at the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my Fibonacci's, I'm going to click, hands off. Then I'm going to drag all the way down and I'm not touching, I'm just pulling my mouse downwards. And then I'm going to click when I align with the bottom. Now this gives you your top side Fibonacci levels. So just like I had my bottom side support levels, now I have my top side Fibonacci levels. So what that means is this golden zone right here is the most likely level that as we work up towards it, it is the most likely level to reject us back downwards. So think about a trampoline, but an opposite. Imagine if there was a trampoline, but there's no gravity, right? I'm going up towards this trampoline. I'm either going to break through it and continue upwards, or I'm going to get rejected back off of it and sent back in the opposite direction. These are rejection or acceptance levels, okay? And so now that you have an understanding of how the Fibonacci's work, how you can find them and how you can draw them, let's apply them to the chart's history real quick so I can show you what they look like in real time. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to apply them to right now. I'm going to show you what Bitcoin's price is doing right now, and then that'll help you understand why something big, I believe, is on the way. Again, I don't usually go this far into detail, but I'm feeling a little bit educational today. I got the glasses on and I got Scooby snacks on deck, so lock in. Okay, so let's go look at history. Okay, let's go look at history and let me just try to find you some examples. Eventually, what you'll be able to do is just eyeball it and you'll be able to just see it. But what I want to do is I want to give you some real life examples. So let's do this, okay? Let's look. Okay, so do you see how Bitcoin's price? No, you know what? Let's I'm going to show you a couple different markets. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple different markets. Let's show an entire bear market. So we're going to start it very big and then we're going to break it all the way down. Okay? Keep it all the way down. Watch this. So you see how Bitcoin had a high right up here. Then it made this big ass low all the way down here, right? When we started to see Bitcoin's price, no, what? We're going to get even more granular. Before this even happened, you see how Bitcoin put in this low and then Bitcoin put in this high and then it started going down? Well, what can we assume? So Bitcoin started low and it went up. Then it started going down. What's it doing? It's retracing, okay? It's retracing. So if we're seeing it retrace this move, what do we use? The Fibonacci retracement tool. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get my Fibonacci and I want to find support. So as Bitcoin's price is going down, I want to know, hey, where are we the most likely to find support and then go back upwards, okay? So I'm going to draw in my Fibonacci's. How do I do that? I go to this previous low. Of course, when I'm finding support, I start down, and then we draw it upwards. You're going to find something interesting happens here. So Bitcoin's price is going down and down and down and down, and it recovers a little bit, but it keeps going down. Up until what point? Now, mind you, this is the pandemic. This is the pandemic. So you can call this accidental if you want to. But I remember these days back here having a basic understanding of the Fibonacci's, and there was a guy named Dan who I learned a lot of technical analysis from, and he said, hey, I know we've recovered a lot, and he was also talking about VOO, but he was like, I know we've recovered a lot, but the reality of it is that we never came back down to the golden zone. That's a little sketchy. You never know when we might capitulate. So he was actually pulling back on his long trades a bit. He was like, it's just weird. Now, in addition to that, there was also this topside golden zone, right? So you can see here, if we're going to get real granular, we saw Bitcoin's price aiming towards the bottom side golden zone, but it started to recover, right? So it started to go upwards. So it was going down towards the golden zone, started to recover. Uh-oh. Do you recognize what that's doing? Now Bitcoin right here started retracing this move. So what can we do? Well, if it's going up and we still think that it's going to go down to this golden zone, let's see where we're most likely to see Bitcoin's price get rejected and head back downwards. We want to find the Fibonacci resistance level. So we're going to start at the top and we're going to go to the bottom and look at this. As Bitcoin starts retracing, it goes all the way up to where? The golden zone, then immediately gets rejected off the golden zone and goes where? The bottom side golden zone. So you can call this coincidence if you want, and I'll just agree with you if that's what you want to hear. But the reality of it, this isn't accidental. Bitcoin started retracing, hit top side Fibonacci, and immediately gets rejected where? Back to bottom side Fibonacci. And then what? Bitcoin's price starts recovering after it leaves there. So now what we can do is we can think. So think about this. Bitcoin's price finds support. It starts recovering, okay? It starts going up. So it was going down, then it starts going up. Uh-oh, listen, what's happening? It was going down, it was going up. What are we doing? We're retracing. So what can we do, guys? We can find where our retracement levels are. So we're going to go to the top this time. Instead of just doing this micro Fibonacci, we're going to do a macro Fibonacci, a bigger Fibonacci. And we're going to go from this high all the way down to this low. You follow me? Why did I do that? Let's go through this one more time. So Bitcoin came to our support level and started recovering. And we want to know, is this a real recovery? Like we're going to moon? Or is this a fake recovery? Are we about to just go up a little bit and then get rejected again? So what we did, we plotted our Fibonacci retracement levels to the top side to then have an understanding of where we would expect to see resistance. Because remember, the Fibonacci levels will act as a door or as a wall. So we're either going to walk through these levels and send it, or we're going to get rejected off these levels and nuke. And what we saw here was Bitcoin's price hit this bottom side golden zone after getting rejected off the top side golden zone, worked its way into the golden zone, broke above it, came back down, back tested it, flipped this resistance into support, and then used it to take off. The moment we recognized that we had successfully cleared the golden zone was the moment many of us back in those days realized, like, oh snap, the bear market might be over. And well, what do you know? Bitcoin absolutely rallies, sending it from $12,000 all the way to $70,000. So this is a real life example of how the Fibonacci's can give you a clear understanding of where the battles are happening. Are we at a big resistance level or a big support level? Some people like to short at Fibonacci levels to the upside. So they would start shorting right here. Some people like to open long trades, right? They like to trade against it. Boom. There's many things you can do. But now that you have an understanding of how the Fibonacci's can impact resistance and support, let's now go to the modern day. Let's go to today. Okay, let's go to today. So what has happened? Well, Bitcoin's price started to fall. We made it all the way up here, and Bitcoin started to fall. So what's the first thing that we can do? It started to fall, and it's kind of recovering a little bit right now. It's kind of recovering a little bit right now. What's it doing? Retracing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and I'm going to draw my top side Fibonacci's. Why? Because what I want to know is, at what point is the bull market actually back? Because think about it. If there's a Fibonacci resistance level sitting on top of us, the reality is, while we're below it, we're constantly at risk of just getting rejected and sent right back down where we came from, right? So what we need to do is we need to clear that topside Fibonacci level. So what do? We're going to go in and we're going to start at that all-time high. We're going to draw it down to this wick. We're going to draw it down to this wick. Now does the picture start getting clear? Now do you start recognizing what I'm talking about? So we have a Fibonacci golden pocket between 96,000 and 102,000, and this is the reason why we're where we are right now, where we are. The reality of it is that we got close to it. We didn't have nearly enough bullish momentum to get above it. And as soon as we got even within an arm's reach of it, we immediately got rejected. And that's why we're going sideways, guys. This is the reason we're not mooning. This is the reason we're not taking off, because there is a gigantic level of bearish selling pressure coming from this golden pocket. Why? Because it's like a trampoline. You go up to it and you bounce off of it. But eventually, you try to break through it. So that's why we are where we are, in my opinion. In my opinion. Now, you can start to combine your Elliott's waves, which I'm not going to get too complicated on, right? I'm not going to get too, we're not going to really go into this, but statistically, we could possibly be at the bottom of a C wave. And history shows that whenever you are at the beginning of what could be a one wave on your Elliott's waves, that you may see a little bit of consolidation as you do start to see that trend realign, because it does take a little bit of time to build enough momentum to continue the beginning, or, make that next impulse move. Besides the point, for those of you who understand Elliott's waves. But that's why we are where we are. Now, with that in mind, okay, we understand Fibonacci's for the most part. We understand what they are. They're resistance and support levels, rejection levels. What I want to show you now is what happens when we zoom in. So maybe some of you have recognized that in the last 10 to 14 days, okay, in the last 10 to 14 days, crypto's not done much really, right? Have you guys noticed that? Maybe let me know in the chat, right? You've maybe noticed it's like kind of goes up, then it kind of goes down, and it kind of goes up, and it kind of goes down, and there's like not a lot going. Have you noticed that? And it's kind of annoying. Now, we're mostly talking about Bitcoin. Altcoins, a little bit of a different story. They're going down, but we're in Bitcoin season, so it's normal. But you got, okay, I see that, right? You guys get the point. Bitcoin's been going up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit. Let me show you why that's happening. So the first reason is because we're sat directly below a macro Fibonacci golden zone. These things are very hard to break through. And so although the bulls are trying right now, they're facing a lot of selling pressure from traders and clearly institutions. So that's why we're stuck here. But it gets even more granular than that. Okay? Granular. Granular meaning smaller, more micro, like you need a microscope a little bit, right? It gets more granular than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all these drawings. And let's look at this from a very zoomed in perspective. And we're going to go to the 4-hour charts because the picture gets clearer. So do you see how Bitcoin put in this high and then it put in this low and then it started recovering? What's that called? Let me know in the chat if you remember what that's called. When we're going down and we start working our way back up. Exactly. Retracements. Okay. It's called a retracement. So what do? When Bitcoin's retracing, we need to know where's resistance very likely going to be. Resistance is very likely going to be at your Fibonacci golden zone. Okay, so look what happened. We started retracing. We were doing okay until we hit the top side of that golden zone, and immediately Granny got kicked straight down the stairs all the way back downwards. But now something's interesting. So we were going down, then we went up, retraced. Then we went up, then started going down. What's that called? A retracement. So now we can draw in another layer of Fibonacci's to the downside. So we have our resistance Fibonacci's, but now that we started going down, we can get our support Fibonacci. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go get my Fibonacci's. I'm going to start at the bottom, because anytime you want to find Fibonacci support, you start at the bottom. I'm going to drag it to the top. And now the picture becomes very clear. Now the picture becomes extremely clear. What's happening here? The reason why Bitcoin is stuck and the reason it's not doing much is because it's being dribbled between two Fibonacci zones. You have Fibonacci resistance, you have Fibonacci support. You have the trampoline to the top side bouncing it down. You have the trampoline to the bottom side bouncing it up. You got rejected, 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 and now we're just consolidating in the middle. And so it's not, people look at technicals and they just look at it and think, oh, we're going sideways. The picture is bigger than that. You have bulls trying to force the price up, and you have bears trying to maintain this sell wall to keep the price down. Why? Because their profits for their trades obviously happen if one of these holds. All of the bulls who are betting that the price is going to go up does not want this wall to be lost. Because imagine it's like imagine if there's a war going on, okay? Imagine if there's a war going on This is a bullish fortress. So this is a fortress for the bulls. And this one is a fortress for the bears. Okay. So what happens if we know this is a very important fortress? I mean, this is where your food's at. This is where your men are. This is where everything's at. This is the wall in Game of Thrones. I mean, this is the place. This is as long as you have this, you're good. We have a huge fortress for the bulls right here and a huge fortress for the bears right now. Both of them are going to fight like crazy to not lose it. Because history shows 60, 70% of the time, oftentimes, sometimes higher to 80, 90% if we're talking about micro caps, which we're not, but just a fun fact there. When you lose one of these, the price of that asset will heavily continue in that direction consistently. Why? Because if the bulls break through the bearish fortress, the bears lose a lot of tools and men and artillery, right? If the bears break through the bulls' fortress, the bulls lose a lot. And it takes a lot of time to recoup those losses. And while that person is trying to recoup the losses, whether it be the bull or whether it be the bear, they're often going to lose a lot of land, right? The bears are going to, just push through this bullish fortress and try to continue the price. And there are some more bullish fortresses, right? There's this little fortress right here, a little fortress right here. And maybe the price does get stalled here before the bulls step back in. But you're going to see the bears take some territory from the bulls. And the battle that's happening right now is the bulls push it up, the bears push it down. The bulls push it up, the bears push it down. And that's why we end up in a situation like this. So you see how people can just look at the crypto market and they'll just look at it and be like, yeah, we're going sideways. It's deeper than that. It took me 30 minutes to explain to you what's happening right now. It's not as simple. Now it goes even deeper. Because what we can do is we can look and see who's more confident. We can see who's more confident. Now, how do we do that? We can use something called a liquidation map. So without getting too technical, and matter of fact, before we get into that, what I will let you all know, all of this stuff I'm talking about right now, the vast majority of it, resistance, support, Fibonacci's, and more, it's all available for you down in the description below. There's a beginner's guide. You can learn all about how crypto works, how to invest into it, how to get started. Then there's a beyond the basics guide that talks about indicators, technical analysis, leverage trading, and more. All that I ask from you, 1,200 people who's in here right now, is that if you want to just learn a little bit more in crypto, go to the link down below, go download these guides and study it. Because if you start understanding what I'm talking about in these guides, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. You can start impacting your strategy a little bit better, and hopefully you can turn that into more gains. Okay? Go download those guides real quick. Now, what we can see with this is who's more confident. Who's more confident? So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to something called the liquidation map. So you can go to coinglass.com/pro/futures/liquidation map. And you're going to see a liquidation map just like this. Let's go ahead and refresh. So what I can see if I scroll down is a couple things here. To the top side, there are these green lines. To the bottom side, there are these red lines. Let me blend this all together for you, okay? Let me blend this all together for you. So the green lines are what's called liquidations. And liquidations happen when someone is on leverage and they lose. So to make this as simple as possible, because I don't want to make this a leverage trading tutorial, let's just keep it as simple as possible. If someone opens a long trade on leverage, what that means is they're betting that the market will go up by borrowing money from the bank. Let's just make it very simple. It's not the bank, but it's the bank. Okay. They're borrowing money from the bank. The problem is if they open that trade right here, and instead of going up, that Bitcoin goes down, the bank's going to say, hey, I'm not losing all my money. I want the money that I gave you, and I want the collateral that you put up for it. Now, there's a certain level where that happens. So say you open up a trade right here, and you have a certain amount of leverage. The bank is going to tell you, hey, if you bet the market's going to go up and it goes down to this, I'm taking my money back and I'm taking your money too. Okay. And so this is called a liquidation level. This is the point where the bank will liquidate all your money. And what we can actually see using a liquidation map is where all of those liquidation levels are. So on the green side, these are liquidations that will happen to shorts. So think of green as the green side is when the price goes up. If the price goes up, these are all of the people who are betting that the market will go down losing. This is when they get liquidated. Does that make sense? We are at this red arrow. This is where Bitcoin's price is at. Bitcoin's price goes up. The people who bet that the market was going to go down, they lose. So the bank takes their money. These are their liquidation levels. The red side are the liquidations to the downside. These are people who bet that the market is going to go up, but it goes down. And guess what? The bank takes their money. And we can use this to look and see who is betting bigger. So when I look at this chart, the 30-day chart, I can see something very clearly. These people who are betting the market will go down because they lose if it goes up are way more confident than the people who are betting that the market's going to go up. And what does that tell us? Well, generally, you would think, well, the person who is the most confident is often the most strong, who is often the one who wins. Not in trading. Oftentimes, not in trading. Because there's something called manipulation here in crypto. Now, it's not just crypto, it's across many different asset classes, but crypto is probably the most heavily manipulated one. If Forex is somewhat manipulated, but it's a lot less manipulated in my opinion. Okay. Now, why is this again? Why does this matter? Why does the market being manipulated matter? The reason that the market being manipulated matters is because history shows the people who are the most confident lose. Say that again. History shows that in crypto, the people who are the most confident in the short-term moves lose. So the people who bet the market is going to go up, that are way more confident that it's going to go up, will oftentimes be wrong. And the people who are going to bet that the market's going to go down, and they're sure the market's going to go down, and if everyone thinks the market's going to go down, oftentimes it doesn't go down. So do you remember back in 2021 where the market was rallying like crazy, guys? Like crazy. Everyone thought the bull market was going to continue until Bitcoin hit 100K. So everyone was betting that the market would go up. But it didn't. Why? Because everyone was sure it was going to go up. So it went down. Now, why does it go down? Because when those people get manipulated or liquidated, right? When the market goes down and they get liquidated, the money that they get liquidated gets sent to the exchanges, gets sent to the market makers, which works its way all the way up to whoever controls the market. Because I do believe it's manipulated. Now, if you don't agree with me, you won't agree with my principles here. But I believe it's manipulated. And that money is going to flow its way all the way up into their pockets. And so they want you to get liquidated. They want you to be wrong. My reasoning is because they want to control as much of crypto as possible. Tyler, why would they want to do that? What don't they want to control? The people in control of things in the world that you don't know about, neither do I. I call them lizard people as a joke. They want to control everything because human nature is power and power is control. So why is this important for us? How do we get so far away? How do we bring this back? Okay. The reason this is so important is because when something like Bitcoin's price is balancing in a battle between the bulls and the bears, the liquidations will tell us if there is an edge in either direction. If there's an edge in either direction. If we're seeing the price being held like this, and the bears, the liquidations that will happen if the market goes up are really high, like really, really, really high. And the amount of liquidations that will happen if the market goes down are really low. That means the bears are way more confident than the bulls. And the likelihood actually is that the market's going to go up and liquidate those bears because they got too confident, they got too greedy, and vice versa. If we're in a battle like this, and the bears and the bulls, they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, okay? Let's say they're going back and forth. I mean, it's ugly. Boom. Some are winning, some are losing. Everybody's dying, right? But the bulls are way more confident than the bears. And all the liquidations that will happen down here. I mean, let's say there's $4 billion worth of liquidations that'll happen if these bulls are wrong. Only $1 billion worth of liquidations if the bears are wrong. The likelihood is that the bears are actually going to win this battle and go liquidate those bulls. Now, why does that matter? Because again, it can give us an idea while we're in the battle of who's more likely to win. Now, is it a guarantee? Of course not. You can't guarantee anything. The reality is you can't guarantee anything, but it can give you an idea. You at least, while nothing is happening, can get a bit of an idea of what's going to happen. And if we go look at liquidations, that's actually where things get interesting. Because right now we're in a micro battle. This is a small battle. I mean, this is a battle of just a couple $1,000s. And if we go down to the shorter time frames, I want you to notice something. Between here and 84,000, 83,000, there's about 1.25 billion worth of liquidations. Between here and 88,000, it's about $1.3 billion worth of liquidations. What does that tell us? What that tells us is that where we are right now is a spot of not really knowing. The bulls and the bears have a rather equal amount of confidence. And the problem with this is it doesn't make it a clear picture. The picture's not clear. There isn't anything really telling us like, oh, the bulls are more likely to win or the bears are more likely to win. And so what ends up happening in a situation like this, whenever it's a balance, is that it's just a coin flip. And it leads to impatience. It leads to people getting emotional and irrational. The uncertainty that starts to enter into the market right here will kind of coil up and boil up, and it'll feel like it's going to explode. And that's where I think we're getting to right now. Because the bulls and the bears are so equally distributed in the micro, in the short term, it's going to force the price to kind of squeeze, just like this. The squeeze until it doesn't. Till boom, something happens. And that either looks like an absolutely disgusting move upwards or an absolutely disgusting move downwards. And so I'm under the belief that because we are seeing such a strong battle between the bears and the bulls due to these Fibonaccis, and the fact that we are seeing liquidations in the micro really, really balanced, that we are going to continue to see this market just coil up and go sideways and sideways and sideways until it decides where it's going to go. And when it does, it's going to be wild, I think. Now, another thing I can use to support this theory is what's called the Bollinger bandwidth. This is going to be the last time that the last little piece that we're going to add to the mix. I'm going to use the Bollinger bandwidth. Give me 5 minutes to explain this. Now, in order for you to understand the Bollinger bandwidth, you need to understand what the Bollinger bands are. Okay? You need to understand what the Bollinger bands are. The Bollinger bands are a tool that you can use that looks a lot like this. You see top side, the bottom side, and the middle. It's like an envelope. Matter of fact, they call it the Bollinger Band envelope. You have resistance, support, and a midline. What these are, actually, to get a little technical, is there's a thing called a 20 simple moving average, which is a simplified moving average, or just an average of the last 20 sessions. Then you're going to take two standard, for kind of you nerds out there, you're going to take two standard deviations to the top side to create the top side resistance and two standard deviations to the bottom side to create bottom side support. And that creates what's called an envelope. For those of you who don't want to get super technical, all you need to know is there's a mid-level, there's resistance, there's support. And what they do is they measure volatility. They measure volatility and overextension. If Bitcoin's price is at the bottom of this, you're getting overextended to the downside, meaning it's very likely you're going to go up. If Bitcoin's price goes to the top side, it's becoming very likely that it's going to reverse and go back down. Okay, so when you're in the bottom side, you're probably going to reverse soon. When you're in the top side, you're probably going to reverse soon. When you're in the middle, you're kind of just neutral. That's all you really need to know. Okay, that's all you really need to know. In addition to that, though, again, it measures volatility. Due to the fact that it's moving averages that are based on standard deviations, which you don't need to know, what this does is it measures volatility based on the size of the envelope. So do you see how sometimes, let me know in the chat if you see this, sometimes the Bollinger Band envelope right here is very wide apart, but then other times it's very close. You see that difference? Do you guys see that? Maybe I'm tripping. You see this, right? Little close, very far. The reason that this happens is because the Bollinger Bands will get closer together when there's less volatility. Volatility is craziness. When the market gets really crazy, it's called volatility. The less volatility, the closer they get. The more volatility, the further apart they get. This is a result of standard deviations from moving averages. Okay? They get farther apart. What analysts have come to recognize is that if you measure the distance between the top one and the bottom one, you start to notice something. When you get periods of no volatility, and I'm talking the market's just going sideways, These Bollinger Bands are going to get closer and closer and closer to each other. And history says that once they get a certain amount of, distance, a certain distance apart from each other, volatility happens. So you coil up and you coil up and you coil up, and it gets closer and closer and closer up until, say, the 10 level. Then once it hits 10 centimeters apart, you get the point. 10 centimeters apart, the market will almost always explode. For some reason, something will cause it, a piece of news, manipulation, whatever it may be, maybe just self-fulfilling prophecy, and the market will start going crazy. Volatility will pick up, and those Bollinger Bands will open back up, and they're going to get far apart. So they'll get close, 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 and then bam, they'll widen back up, meaning volatility happens. That volatility is often a breakout. What do I mean by that? Well, what will happen is, say something like Bitcoin's going to go sideways. Nothing really happening at all. The Bollinger Bands, let me kind of just make these blue, right? The Bollinger Bands, I didn't mean to do that, but it's cool. Boom. Let's just do it backwards like this. This works. Okay. The Bollinger Bands are going to get closer and closer and closer. And then what's going to happen is Bitcoin's price is going to break out in one direction or another. It's either going to go up or down, out of nowhere. Boom, breakout. Then the Bollinger Bands are going to widen back out. And so the reason I'm explaining to you this is because what we're seeing on the Bollinger Bands right now for Bitcoin imply that a breakout is on the way. And not just a small breakout, a big breakout. Let me show you. If we head here, what I want to show you is something called the Bollinger Band Width. The Bollinger Band Width is a tool that you can get here. It's completely for free. Indicators, type in Bollinger Band Width, and it's going to look like this. It's going to look like this. And I want to point something out to you all. When the blue line goes up, there's more volatility or more craziness in the market. When the blue line is going down, it means there's less craziness in the market. And if you head to the 1 hour, something's happening. Something's happening. The 1 hour Bollinger Band Width has now re-entered into the level that it gets to almost every single time before the market gets crazy. The last time that the Bollinger Band Width was this low was right here, right before Trump's big announcement. The time before that was right before the market absolutely dumped. And it goes on and on. The time before that was right before the market dumped. Do you see that? You see how when the Bollinger Band Width, meaning that volatility decreases to this point, gets to this point, the market gets crazy out of nowhere? Look where we're at. What does all of this mean? Okay. What does all of this mean? It means that the bears and the bulls are fighting. They're going back and forth, which is the reason why Bitcoin's price is looking like this. It's bouncing, it's dribbling. But as this is happening, our liquidations show us that both sides are not more confident than the other, and it's causing uncertainty. And that uncertainty is causing a coil effect. Like it's in a crock pot, and you forgot to do something, and it's about to blow up. And while all that's happening, while all this coiling up is happening, now we've hit the bounce zone in Bollinger Band Width, which will almost always be hit right when we are about to see a big move. Now, how long can we be here? Well, let's look. I mean, in this example, we were here for 2 days, 3 days before anything happened. In this example, we were here for 4 days or 5 days before something happened. So I'm not saying that it's about to happen today. But what I am saying is that something's on the way. Last time, we swung from $95K all the way to $81,000. The time before that, obviously, we saw this bad boy swing all the way from $96,000 all the way down to $78,000. But something's coming. Something's coming. And you got to be ready for it. Okay. So 50 minutes later, all right, 50 minutes later, this is why the market looks like it looks. People think, oh, it's just a bad day. No, it's deeper than that. You're seeing a battle happening, a real war between bears and bulls. And as it gets closer and closer and closer, something's about to pop. It's going to be nasty. Now, I know what you want me to say. What you want to know, Tyler, who's going to win? Is it the bulls or the bears? I got bad news for you. No one knows. If you're new to crypto, what you have to understand is that there is not a single person on the internet or anywhere that you will find who's not a lizard person who knows what's going to happen. Oftentimes what we do is we scour through YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok to find people to validate what we hope happens. So what people do is they're going to think, well, I hope the market goes up. So I'm going to scroll on Instagram or YouTube until I find someone who's going to tell me it is. And you'll subscribe to them, right? You'll subscribe to them because they told you that it is. And then it doesn't happen because the reality is they don't know, just like I don't know. And then the market falls. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to blame them. You're going to say, well, you told me it was going up and you were wrong. And now I've lost money. When the reality of it is you were just searching for someone to validate what you hoped happened, right? And so I'm not going to validate your feelings. The reality is I don't know and no one knows. But I can point out some statistics. What I do know is there is an outstanding amount of liquidations that will happen if this market goes up. Completely unbalanced. There are $10.5 billion. How does Trump say it? Billions and billions. There are $10.5 billions of dollars that will get liquidated if this market goes up, compared to 4.13 billion if it goes down. And we're talking on a bigger time frame. This is not small. This is bigger. Okay? This is bigger. In addition to that, what that means is it's based on liquidations, more likely that this market goes up to liquidate these people eventually. In addition to that, the vast majority of the market is overextended to the bottom side. Most cryptos are now in a weak or oversold zone on their RSIs, which is historically a good time to be buying. In addition to that, the crypto fear and greed index is sitting at 25. History says buying while we are in fear will oftentimes lead you to gains. So the data says that we have a higher likelihood of seeing this market break to the upside than the downside eventually. The question is, what does it take for us to get there? That's the part where no one knows. I still think personally that Bitcoin's going to try to run back to $100,000 at some point. I may be wrong, and I'm okay with that. I may be wrong. I still think it's going to get there. What no one knows, and what I'm not going to try to guess is, do we just run to it or do we dump before we go to it? That's what I can't seem to figure out. And I guess we'll just have to play it by ear. And so what does Tyler do? How do I handle this? What do I do in a situation like this? Well, what I do in a situation like this is not much. And that's a very aggravating thing to say. I know you don't like to hear that. But I don't do much. What I'll do is I'm going to wait to see who wins. Because I think that's going to be very telling. We are either going to see the bulls win or the bears win. Bitcoin is either going to break above 94K or below 81K. And I think there's a decent sized chance that if we lose our invalidation levels after that, we're cooked. Like if Bitcoin comes back down and it say loses $78,000, which is its invalidation level of this breaking of the golden zone, which I'll explain in a later video one day, the likelihood is we're heading back anywhere from 74 to 70. And I got really bad news if we lose those levels. You lose 74 to 70, guys, we're probably looking at 60s, 50s, right? So the reality is that if Bitcoin breaks this golden zone, we're going to start having to aim for invalidation levels much lower, and the market's probably going to get cooked for a little while. But on the flip side, if Bitcoin breaks above 94K, yeah, now we got price targets of 99, then 106, then 115. And so knowing that there is such a big difference between what happens if we break this box or this box, I'm just going to wait for one to break. The mistake that so many new investors make, right, is they get caught up in this mindset that they have to do something. Maybe they just lost a little bit of money. Maybe they're pissed off. Maybe their dog rubbed its ass on their carpet and they just want something to make them feel good, right? And so they're going to go in and they're going to try to force something. Well, I got to buy or I got to sell. Those are the people who lose, almost always. Impatience is expensive in crypto. Let me say that again. Impatience is expensive in crypto because the people who are impatient and force things that are not there will almost always lose. So in a moment like this, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to watch. I'm going to eat my damn Scooby snacks. I'm going to eat my Myconites. And I'm going to drink my water until something happens. And when something happens, we break one of these golden zones, then I'll make a move. And I'll tell you what that move is when the time comes. There we are. And that's where this market's at. So that was 57 minutes. And I hope you guys did enjoy that. Okay, we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit, but I feel like I don't, within 10, 15 minutes of a video every day, I don't get to really show you guys what's happening. And I hope you guys do. I know this was a bit different. That was a long educational segment. I hope you guys do like stuff like that. I'd like to do it more often, like once a week. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Okay. In the meantime, go to the links down below. Go download the free beginner's guide. Go download the free Beyond the Basics guide. These two guys will help you educate, help elevate you much further than I can every single second of the day. Go study them. Once you complete them at the end, I'm going to try to upsell you into joining our school. In our school, I post my thoughts, my insights, my trades, my buys, my sells, and much more. You get access to me, Connor Kinney, Aaron Bennett, our coaches, daily workshops, classes, live streams. You're going to get a beginner's course, an intermediate course. You're going to get an advanced course. You're going to get, again, deep dives and daily research. You're going to get more stuff than you can possibly imagine to help elevate you. And our community does crazy things. Our community does things that you'll never see before. And I'm going to try to upsell you into this school when you finish these guys. I'm warning you now, okay? I'm going to try to because I want you to join. Got a business to run. But this community is one of the highest profit generating communities in the world. Simple. And it's for a reason. Over $4 million in confirmed profits. So go check all that stuff out. Let's switch gears. Let's jump into the chat. How y'all doing, baby? One more thing. Let me show you my settings. Also, the link to the school is down below if you just want to sign up and skip the guide. My settings on Fibonacci's look like this. I turn on fib levels based on log scale. I make sure that my chart is set on logarithmic because I like trading on logarithmics. And yeah, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So screenshot that and use it if you want. Okay. I won't call you. I will promise you that. I will not call you. I understand if you don't want to, but I won't call you. Whew. All righty. I feel like that was a long one. How are we feeling? So how are we feeling realistically? Awesome vid. Shout out to all of you. I'm glad it helped. You know, I used to gatekeep a lot of education and a lot of knowledge. I used to gatekeep it all because I'd be like, well, I want to give that to the students, the school members, right? The reality of it is, guys, when you're in the market for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, you learn so much. I can give you guys hundreds of hours of content. And when you join the school, I'm still going to have more to give you. So that's why I'm just giving a lot more these days. Like, you know what? Just take it. Here's how I use Fibonacci's. Here's how they work. Here's why they're important. Just take it. Because the reality is, you join the school, then I'll tell you my strategies on how I use them. You see what I'm saying? So I don't just gatekeep it. I just fucking give it to you. It is what it is. So I'm glad you guys enjoy it. It took a very long time of figuring this stuff out, guys. I took a couple classes, a couple courses, but I never had someone to sit down and teach me how all this stuff works. So I did it the hard way, which is learn it my damn self. Don't make that mistake. Watch YouTube videos. YouTube is literally free. It'd be moronic to have to learn it yourself all the time. Oh yeah. Shout out to all you guys. I mean, Mike and Ike's. My wife is starting to get pissed because we're getting married on Saturday, and these are for our wedding, but they're so good. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't have packed them a week before the marriage. Come on, be real. All right, we're gonna do some rapid fire technical analysis on altcoins in a second here. I'm just taking a breather. For a sec, 57 minutes straight of talking after a 4-hour live stream yesterday is rough, I ain't gonna lie. Drink your water, or I'll flat out ban you from the chat. Hey, Red, are you in here? Brillo, what up, homie? Alrighty. Give me like 2 minutes, and then we're gonna do some rapid fire TA. And then I'm gonna answer some questions. I don't know what I'm gonna do today. I have a little more work to do before the fights come on tonight. I think they start at 5. Anybody watching the fights tonight? I don't know. Maybe I'll bring Kate on. I know the fights are going to be good. Too much water is bad for you. You'll drown. I don't care. How about that? I don't care. All right, rapid fire sports picks real quick. Don't bet on sports, by the way. It's stupid. It's just like, it's like leverage trading. It's dumb. Don't do it, but do it. Before I do my TA, I'm going Jordan Santos, John Castaneda. I'm going Santos. I'm going Carlos Leal, Bruno. I'm gonna go Armin. Screw it. I'm going Joshua Van, Curtis Blades, Alex Pereira, Justin Gaethje, Jalen Turner, Amanda Lemos, and Ruffy. Alrighty. I drink half a cup of water a day, dude. That is not good for you. Where's Red at? Somebody go get Red. Somebody go get I'm gonna have a fucking aquarium in here one day. Oh snap! All right, let's pivot. I'll do some TA. I gotta show 2 things before we get into TA. 3 things. Hold on. First and foremost, go follow me on Twitter at Tyler Hill YT. I post a whole bunch of extra content over there. Okay, whole bunch, all day, every day, literally. Go follow that. Also, second thing, go follow me on Instagram. We are currently sat at 140 followers. I post on here every single day. I've been trying to, at least I'm getting into it. I got a bunch of educational content coming there. And only if, listen to me incredibly closely, right here, only if you are an experienced trader who has experience, you're advanced, intermediate, whatever, you know what you're doing, go to the link down below and go check out BTCC. They're doing 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. This means you can get tens of thousands of dollars in bonuses and rewards when you start trading on BTCC today. Beginners, this is not for you. Leave leverage the fuck alone. It's only for people who know what they're doing. Head to the link down below. Go check it out. Okay, let's do some rapid TA. Okay. Chill, Rick. Don't say that, dude. Jesus Christ. Don't say Pereira's going to lose. Chama. All right. So Bitcoin, you guys know where I'm at. ETH, let's check this bad boy out. And Ryan, look, if you just go to the school link down below, and if you go read through this, I break down literally everything. You can see all of the perks. It's all available right here for you. So go check that out. Okay. Okay. ETH. So what is ETH doing? ETH is doing something very simple, guys. Very, very, very easy to understand, okay? ETH is in what's called an ascending channel, which is what you imagine. It's an ascending channel. So we were going upwards. It had all of this support to the bottom side, resistance to the top side. Like ascending channels do 90% of the time, okay? 90% of the time, they break to the downside. When an ascending channel breaks to the downside, it will go back to what's called a bounce zone. And a bounce zone is just simply the levels that you use to build that channel. So this one, and look, I feel like I got shifted a little bit. Let me move this back just a bit. There we go. So you have this one, again, you have that one, you have this one, and you have that one. And ETH is just currently at its first bounce zone. So ETH lost support. Look, let me fix that now. There we go. So ETH lost support, and now it's come back down, and it's at its bounce zone. ETH is going to try to hold support here like it's never tried to hold support before. If successful, we'll probably see ETH try to run back up to 2,700. It will be very difficult, though. The percentage likelihood of a crypto being able to hold its first bounce zone, if I remember my study from 2023, which is a far ways away, so take this with a grain of salt, it was less than 30%. It was like 28, 29%. Oftentimes what will happen is it'll hit that first bounce zone, it'll try to hold there, maybe recover, and then it'll go to the second one. The second one has like a 70 to 80% chance of holding. So from that data, that would mean that ETH would try to fall somewhere back towards, $1,500, $1,600. That's just the data. That's not me saying that's what I think is going to happen. And especially, it just depends on Bitcoin. ETH isn't really going to move on its own. If Bitcoin capitulates and the Bears win this fight and push Bitcoin down to 74K, I do expect ETH to make that trip all the way back down to somewhere around $1,600, $1,800, somewhere down here. Okay. But if Bitcoin wins, it goes up. So the thing about it is, I'm going to do some rapid fire TA on all these altcoins. But the reality is this, guys. We are only going to see these alts do what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin pumps, they'll be fine. If it goes sideways or dumps, they're not going to be fine. So just take all of this individual TA with a grain of salt, please. Another thing that I completely forgot, Peter. Paying you to validate my feelings, JK. Thank you for all your time. Peter, much appreciated, homie. Thank you for the $5 donation. You are fueling my Micah Nike addiction. All love. And then AJ Crypto sends the $3 super sticker. All love to you as well, my friend. Much appreciated. Okay. So ETH, it is in a spot that I think is decent. As you can see here, if we go to the school, I did buy a little bit of ETH in the beginner's portfolio last night. I bought $100 worth of it. Again, this is only a $10,000 portfolio, so that's like a 1%. 1% of my total portfolio I put in ETH last night. So I think it's a bit of a pretty, decent spot. Bought that at 21.50, currently at 22.22. So barely on that. But again, I do think this is a support zone, and I do like to buy at support zones, but I wouldn't be buying a ton here because, again, history shows that the likelihood of this thing trying to fall back towards, 1,700, there's a decently fair sized chance that does happen, especially considering, like the daily RSI, it's not really dipped into that oversold territory like it likes to do. Your Bollinger Bands as well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be buying a lot of ETH right now, but, a little small purchase while the bulls are trying to hold on to this level makes a lot of sense. Okay, makes a lot of sense to me. Small purchases. SWI. SWI is another one that I think is in a pretty solid spot, actually. I did buy a little bit of SWI in the beginner portfolio as well, about $50 on that one. The reason why I did that is quite simply because SWI just played out as we kind of figured it would, right? SWI was in an ascending channel. I told you all this. If we actually go back, I showed you guys yesterday this, but look. We talked about this yesterday, so I'm not going to harp on it. So as you can see here, I closed 3% of my entire SWI bag right here. And then prior to that, I closed on the 5th. I closed another 9% or 8 or 9%. Where was that at? It was on the 5th, I believe. I gotta find it. Now I got my mindset that I'm gonna find it. Hold on. On the 5th, I might not be able to find it. It is what it is. Okay, but anyway, as you guys can see, I took some profit here on SWI up here and on here. Why? Because, again, ascending channels have a 90% chance of breaking to the downside. Knowing that, and knowing that SWI was up here, we took some profit here. SWI started to pull back. Now it's come through all of its bounce zones, and we are currently at a macro level of support. Watch this, guys. Watch this. So SWI went from a low to a high, then started going back down. So guess what? What's that doing? Some of you should remember this from our lesson earlier. When we were going up, then we start coming back down. What's that called? Let me know. I want someone to say it. Exactly. We're retracing. Okay. So SWI is currently retracing. So what am I going to do? I want to find some support. Where do we find support at? We start at the low, we go to the high, we draw on our Fibonacci to get our golden zone. So what am I going to do? Low, high, bing, bang. There you go. You wondered why SWI got rejected right here and has been holding up right now? Golden zone. So knowing that SWI has finally broken to the downside of this ascending channel and it's now back in its golden zone, I'm willing to do some buying right here. I'll take some of the cash that I made when I sold up here and I'm going to buy back in down here. Because the likelihood is SWI will try to hold this support and continue upwards. The shitty part is that if it loses support here, it's going to get real ugly. And SWI's going to head back down towards $1. It is what it is. I'm willing to take the gamble because I'll just buy some more down there. Oh well. Let's see how it plays out. So that's my strategy. So SWI looking pretty solid. Ascending higher low there, lower low there. That's bullish divergence, bottom side support there. So I think SWI's in a pretty solid spot. I did do a little buying there. Okay. Okay. Benjamin, I don't know. I don't think that's a great idea. That's risky. I haven't even done that. I still have my 2 companies. I don't know about that. And then the YouTube channel. Okay, Solana. I don't even need to get too deep into this. Solana, holding topside golden zone support, holding a very strong support level. Solana is now back at the same level that held many times back here. I think it has a sizable chance of being able to do it here, which is the reason why I did buy a little bit of Solana. Let me get back down here. Buy a little bit of Solana yesterday at $142. Not 1,000,000% confidence it's going to hold. Solana going back to $100 wouldn't really surprise me, but willing to start doing some small DCAs here because Solana is at a macro support level. Very simple stuff here, guys. XLM is looking pretty good, actually. XLM is currently dipping back towards the bottom side of this green channel. This is a level that I like to buy at. It's just one of my little strategies. I love parallel channels. I don't know if it's just the way my brain works or what, but I have a little thing for them. But I like to buy whenever you are in the green zone of a parallel channel. If you don't know how to track a green zone, since we're doing education today, let me just show you real quick. Okay, so what you're looking for is you're looking for a move of this nature. This is called a descending channel. Why? Because it's a channel and we're going down, descending. Okay. Guys, please stop spamming tickers. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to this little tool right here, and you're going to click parallel channel, and you're going to click one of the highs, and you're going to go through all the other highs. Then you're going to drag down. Boom. And this will create your descending channel. So this is what I do. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, go here, and I make this gray. And I'm going to do it again. So my goal right now is to find the bottom 25% of this descending channel, because statistics say that's the best time to be buying once it clears the 25% zone. So what I'm going to do, all right, I'm going to go ahead and mute a couple people. I'm sorry, guys, but I tried to warn you. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is you see this little dotted line right here? That's your 50% level. So that's halfway in between the top and the bottom of your parallel channel. So I'm going to click that. And now I'm going to go all the way to the end of it, and I'm going to bring it down again. And what does that do? Now it's created my bottom 50% to be a little bit lighter than the top 50%. But now we have this dotted line. And I'm going to do it one more time, guys. I'm going to go to this dotted line, and this is now my 25% threshold. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to make this green. This gives me my green zone. Statistics say buying in the green zone of a parallel channel is one of the most surefire methods to make money over a long period of time. What do I mean by that? If you're buying a quality asset and it is dipping into this green zone of a real parallel channel, even if it goes down for a long time, if you are accumulating in this green zone, it will, like 80 to 90% of the time, if it's a good asset, break to the top side of that channel, and you will end up either at a break even or at a profit very fast, especially if you lever, which or ladder in, which would imply you do put a little bit more money in the lower that it goes. So if you dollar cost average of $5 here, you do 7 there, then you do 10 there, right? So you're lowering that average cost as you go down. These will almost always break to the upside. So that's what I like to do. Okay, this is what I like to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to XLM, and now you can see what I mean. So what I've been doing with XLM is buying in the green zone. So I bought a little bit here, I bought a little bit here, I bought a little bit here. Guys, I am negative on all these purchases. Or like break even on these two and then negative on this one. Be real with you guys, I don't care. Because the likelihood is that as long as XLM is a strong asset and it has a future, like I think it will eventually break to the upside of this, and those purchases from here will be in profit. So I'm buying a little bit of XLM here, which is, again, I think I bought a little bit yesterday. Yeah, Stellar. Bought some yesterday. This is all beginner's portfolio, by the way, guys. This is just the beginner's portfolio that we created here on the channel. Now, I'm looking at a few more. ADA, I told you guys I'm not all too interested in touching this one right now. Just not a huge fan of the price action here. ADA is also balanced in between a top side golden zone and a bottom side golden zone, but it's very high to the top side right now, still above the 50% threshold. So I'm leaving ADA alone right now. I did buy a little bit of it just because it was down. No, I didn't actually. I didn't buy any of it actually because I guess the portfolio was in ADA was in profit in the beginner portfolio here. Yeah, it's still no, that shouldn't be it. Yeah, so ADA was still up, so that's the reason I didn't buy any. Yeah, I'm just not interested in it right now. H-bar is in the bottom side of its golden Fibonacci zone. Gonna give a hell of a fight to try to hold some support here. I think H-bar is in a pretty decent spot. If H-bar loses $18.25, no, 18.25 cents, then we're in a bit of a pickle. I would say reasonably, like H-bar could realistically fall back as low as 9 to 10 cents if that does happen. So that's a little spooky. So I'm not doing gigantic purchases right here, but willing to do some small ones just in case it does maintain the support and try to continue upwards. But again, just be aware, this pullback towards some of these lower levels could happen at any given moment, especially after a move like this, right? Guys, if you do continue to spam tickers, my moderators are going to mute you, okay? They're going to mute you. We're going to go over what we're going to go over, and then I'll take some recommendations from the chat in a little bit, no problem. So just warning you, okay? ICP, I'm not like super excited about right now. I'm going to be honest with you guys, but it is at its bottom side golden zone. From this low to this low, or this low to this high, right? Where we're retracing, and we've come back down to the golden zone. It found some support and recovered. It might find some support and try to recover again. So I would be willing to do a little bit of buying on ICP right now, but it's just not showing me enough signs of life in the last year to get me super excited. Okay. Okay. All right. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just temporary ones. Okay. Let's look at some more. Let's do I feel like I'm missing. I feel like there's a big one that I usually talk about that I did. Oh, XRP. Yeah, no shit. Okay, XRP. So this is probably one of my I'm doing TA on the 4 hour and on the daily right now. I'm doing TA on the 4 hour and on the daily right now. Okay. Just give me 1 second. I just have to drop a couple little temp mutes. I'm just going to do some temporary mutes because I keep asking you guys the same thing. And then you'll get unmuted and we'll be back in the game. No problem. But so this is one of my more controversial takes. And this is one you guys this is one that you guys probably aren't going to like too much. Especially if you're an XRP fan. Okay, but I just have to be honest. So right now, we are seeing XRP in an ascending channel. Statistics say that cryptos that are in ascending channels, especially at the top of an ascending channel, have an over 90% chance of breaking to the downside. Now, it may not be, right? You know, one thing that people do say, which I think there's some validity to, is that this is what has happened. And if that is the case, that is great. But I am still being a little bit cautious because it does feel as if we are creating some sort of bottom side support down here. But what we saw was that XRP created this ascending channel towards the top side. And when this happens, you usually don't see a lot, okay? You usually don't see a lot of growth from there for a minute, right? It's usually going to take some time. The bad news of that means that XRP, after putting in this high, usually needs to take quite a while before being able to gain some traction again. That's not my opinion. It's objectively what statistics say. That is going to usually take some time, and that you're either going to need to go sideways or downwards to get out of the pressure that was created by this ascending channel. The good news, okay, is that if it did break to the downside right here and then get another rejection, that has already started. That cool down has already started. That sideways pressure has already started. And so we might be getting closer already to some sort of pump, but I wouldn't be expecting some mind-boggling absolute cinder for a bit, right? I wouldn't really be expecting this thing to just take off tomorrow all the way up to $5. Now, can it? Yeah, of course it can. Any big piece of news, anything like that can cause a move of that nature, but it's going to be difficult because of this huge resistance level of an ascending channel that's right above us. It's the reason we got rejected right here. It's the reason we got rejected right here. It's the reason why we're struggling right now, okay? And look, I'm not an XRP bear. I hold XRP myself. I've definitely started to get back into the groove of things. I have a lot of my XRP bags still open, okay? So I'm not trying to shit on XRP, but the reality is when you create structure of this nature, it is hard to get a huge move going. It is hard to get a huge move going, objectively. So I'm just being a little bit cautious with XRP. I'm not doing a huge bunch of buying. I'm not doing a huge bunch of selling. I'm not really just doing much. Now, if XRP does fall, say to, $1.50 or something like that, and we just get a little further away, yeah, then I'll start doing some buying there. I'm happy to do some buying there. But for now, while it's trying to decide whether or not it's about to start capitulating or try to reclimb through this channel, I'm just going to let this play out. Because I don't want to get wrecked if what usually happens does happen. Okay. So that's where we are. Okay. C-pull was in that 10% that broke out upwards from an ascending channel. Holy shit. Really? You don't see those very often. Oh, this. Yeah, I see. That's unusual. That's incredibly unusual. That's very cool to see. You see it didn't last, but it is cool that it broke out. It doesn't usually do that. So you see it wanted to come down so bad. But it bounced off that 50, sent it for the breakout, back test, golden zone, retracement, breakdown, retest, one more try, boom, back test, capitulation. All the way back down to where? Look, guys, I've never looked at C-Pool's chart once in my entire life. You remember I told you about bounce zones? Where is it coming down to right now? It's bounce zone. It's just what happens. It's just what happens. It's crazy how this works. I've never looked at C-Pool once in my life, and I told you guys this. And I'm not a genius. It's just technical analysis. Okay. Sonic. We can do Sonic. I'm going to look at Ondo first. Ondo's in a good spot. I did do a... did I? Yeah, I did a little bit of buying on Ondo yesterday in the beginner portfolio. It's just back at this golden zone. Bottom side golden zone, high support level. It's in the descending channel, as you can see here. I think it's parallel, actually, which is pretty cool. Yep, parallel descending channel. Looks good to me. Bought a little Ondo. Worst case scenario is that it breaks through golden zone and heads back towards 56 cents, but it just is what it is. I'll just buy more down there anyway. I'm already a little negative on this Ondo position anyway, so... yeah, I'll just kind of play the game and just see what happens. But I did do a little bit of buying on Ondo right here. Very, very happy to buy some Ondo there. Looking at Sonic. Sheesh. All right. That's ugly. Where's my Phantom chart? Because it should have converted. There we go. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay. Phantom. Trying to figure out what my perspective was on this. Okay. So from what I can tell, Phantom has been consistently trying to... I mean, it's doing a pretty solid job of moving upwards, right? I can obviously see that it held support there on that golden zone, and then it held support there on that one. And then I would assume that it's currently at this one. Yeah, it is. So Phantom's currently at 3 different golden zones. It's at the Fibonacci golden zone from this swing low to this swing high, from this swing low to this swing high, and this swing low to this swing high, which is actually pretty cool. So there's a tri-layered Fibonacci overlapment. I hate that, but that's what it is. And that means that there's just a lot of support between below Phantom or Sonic right now. Now, while that's happening on the dailies, we are seeing that RSI trying to work its way back down. Definitely not all the way down there yet. So that does imply that it might have some further down to go. And then you look at its MACD, and that does also kind of paint a similar picture in the sense that there's still some possible downward movement because, you know, like we're still kind of crossing through that 0% threshold. So I definitely wouldn't be aping Phantom right now, but I think like slowly starting to put some bids in, some slow buys in, probably not a terrible idea. I think Phantom will try to find some support anywhere between here and 25 cents, obviously, and that's a huge gap. So that's not me really saying anything groundbreaking, but I do think this support level should, I mean, that'd be hard as hell to not hold. So I think Sonic's not in a terrible spot right now. Not a great spot. Obviously, it did just get rejected. It broke to the downside of this top side golden zone. So you see how the golden zone rejected it down. So now it's at these ones, but there's a lot more support down here than there is resistance here. So yeah, I think there's a decent sized chance that Phantom tries to make that run upward. So I don't think it's in a terrible spot to start getting some slow, small, DCAs or bids in right there. So, okay. Guys, I'm no expert, but just look at the past years. It went sideways for so long. So now I can do two things. Either we'll go sideways for the rest of 25, or we'll go up. Just hold on. We'll see. Is Pi Network legit? I think so. I did ICP already. Lingo's good. I like Lingo a lot. I think they have a very good business model. It's just going to take some time. They're in a bad market. So launching a company in a market like this is rough. Take it from me. I know it's rough. So I think they'll be fine though. Alrighty. Sorry. Checking some noties. Can you show your fib numbers again? Yeah, I got you. Hold on. Motherfucker. Oh, there we go. Boom, boom. There you go. Just give that a little screenshot. And then don't forget to turn your fibs levels based on log scale on. Hey, who downloaded the beginner's guide or the Beyond the Basics guide earlier? Put a 1 in chat if you downloaded beginner's guide, 2 if you downloaded the Beyond the Basics guide. If you haven't downloaded either one, I'm not playing. Go to the link down below, go get them. It's free content. There's no better time than right now to start learning more while the market's getting like boring. Go learn right now. Go download them. 1. Good. Beginner's guide, basics, good. Good, very good. Tyler, when you spawn with Alex Becker, whenever he wants. I'm down for it. I need a guide for fib drawing. Yeah, no, I did one earlier today. Let's remember, when you're trying to find support, start bottom to top. When you're trying to find resistance, go top to bottom. Very simple. Stacking or staking? I'm doing some DCing with Solana. And if I hold Solana, I'm happy to stake it. So hopefully that answers your question. Very good. All right, good. Happy to hear it. Good. Download them, download them, download them. Do you take into account USDT.dominance chart? All things considered, we lost an arm to cash. That is bearish in short term. Bearish short term, good long term. It means that although people are a little bit spooked about the short term, they're still keeping their money in crypto, which is a good sign. Very good sign. That doesn't scare me. Crystal ball, you're crazy. I just saw a good question. Yeah. Man, I just saw a good question. Where the hell was it at? Thoughts on microcaps right now? I'm not interested in them, to be honest with you. I'll be back. Oh, I wanted to ask. So, someone asked what staking was. Staking is basically a thing that you can do where you give your crypto to a platform, you lock it for a while, they use it, they lend it, they do whatever they're going to do with it, and then they pay you like an interest on it. That's the easiest way to think about it. Is you're loaning it out to other people. It doesn't always work like that, but sometimes people allow you to do it just to kind of reduce the circulating supply. And blah blah blah. Just know you can make some interest on your crypto. Bitcoin might rip, but that doesn't mean XRP is going to be able to have enough momentum to go up 300%. That's what I mean. I'm eating Micah nights from our wedding coming up this week. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Has Trump's lack of, and what we're going to do, guys, we're going to do a Q&A session for like 20 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to get a little work done. I have to send a couple reports out, and then I'm going to hang out, order some chicken wings, and watch the UFC fights. That's my strategy. Don't forget, I will be posting some extra stuff over on Instagram tonight at TylerHillYT_. If you are interested, go follow me. Shout out to me. Okay. Since we don't have, I just saw something about Trump. Hold on, what was that? I actually would say that Trump coming into office has started to bring more clarity towards regulation than any other president ever before, to be honest. I think there's more clarity in terms of regulation now than there ever has been. Even if it means there's not much regulation, there is much more clarity of the lack thereof regulation, if that makes sense. Since we don't have any future good news, do you think we're stuck going sideways for a while? We've had the most bullish news, but only down movements. Very possible. This market does not need good news to rally, guys. And I hope that's something that you do grow to understand one day, is that it doesn't rely on just good news. Sometimes this market will run for no reason. It'll be disguised as good news, right? So like something will happen and everyone's like, oh, this is great news. and then the market runs. But the reality is that the reason that it ran was much deeper than that. It's usually manipulative movements, just a lack of price suppression, institutional accumulation behind the scenes. Like there's all types of stuff that happens that can move this market without you knowing why. But it'll be like disguised as some big White House news or something. I am 23 years old. I've not really mined any crypto before. It's not really my thing. When you try to find resistance, take fib from top to bottom and support from bottom to top right. Exactly. Great job, Sound of the Universe. We love to see it. Great job. Could be like me and accidentally convert my whole bag to ADA and it auto staked. Holy shit. I just got both books. Good. Very good. Very good. Read them. Go through them. Get upsold at the end. Agreed. I do agree, Zobin. Could you share your bear, bull, and realistic opinion of where the market could go in 2025? Okay. Bearish. This is all speculative, and I've not really thought about it. I'm just going to throw some stuff out there. Okay. Oh, I deleted my HMZ on accident. That's annoying. I guess I'll just have to go through the strenuous struggle of redrawing it. Ooh. Okay. Bearish outlook. Bearish outlook for 2025 is that Bitcoin falls back between $67,000 to $56,000. I think that is reasonably bearish, right? Some people are calling for 29K. I would be mildly surprised if Bitcoin was, I mean, we are in March. You know, we still have the summer and we still have, summer is always an ass whipping. So maybe, I mean, hyper bearish scenario is Bitcoin comes back down to these Fibonacci extension levels. I'll teach you all about Fibonacci extension levels another day. But Bitcoin technically could fall back to 39 to 29. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think institutions can afford for that to happen. I think reasonably Bitcoin could fall back towards like 67 to 58K, roughly. Somewhere in this golden zone to the bottom side. Okay, that's my bearish scenario. Realistic scenario is that not a lot happens. My realistic scenario is that we're either a little bit bearish this year or a little bit bullish this year. Like, not much, though. And the reason that I say that, and it's kind of hard to tell because you don't know what the end of the year is going to hold, right? Like, we might just do this. Like, we literally might just repeat last year, right? Where we just kind of don't do a lot, run, relax. Like, maybe we just step stool it for a little while, right? So, like, reality is I don't think a lot's going to happen this year because we are at a balance. Institutions and fake money is holding the Bitcoin price up. Fears over tariffs, fears over the economy, and all those other things are kind of forcing the price down. And so until one of those gives, I don't think we're going to see a lot from Bitcoin. But I obviously can't predict what the economy is going to look like in 8 months. You know, it's hard to tell. Bullish scenario is that Bitcoin is able to Fibonacci extend on these moves that it just made. And, you know, I think a bullish scenario for this year would be Bitcoin fully Fibonacci extending, clearing the golden zone, breaking the all-time high, and pushing up towards these extension levels around 135,000. Hyper bullish would be 191K. I just have absolutely zero idea what would get us that high. I think, again, reasonably 120 to 135 makes a ton of sense to me. Makes a ton of sense to me. FOMC and interest rate cuts are the main bullish catalyst that matters. Agreed. When running a lot of screens, do you use a PC mainly or a laptop? I'm actually just using a MacBook Pro. Do you know some lizard people? What do you think about Elon Musk? Lizard hybrid? I think Elon Musk is below the lizard people. Like, I don't even know if, like, I have a real conspiracy that, like, the world is run by people who we've never heard of before. Do you give live lessons in your school? If so, doing them during panic moments will give reassurance and keep people from losing money. I do them. I've taken a break for like a month just because we were so busy getting the merge going, but I am bringing them back as soon as I get back from a honeymoon. Not this week, but the next week. So, sorry guys, I got cat hair on my face. I moved my blanket and cat hair just went everywhere. It's making me itch. Anybody who has cats knows what I'm talking about. I don't know. I need to ask around. Probably so. How would you use different time frames for analysis, like 1 hour, 4 hour daily, and is daily time frame good to start? Daily analysis, dailies and 4 hours are a great place to start. And the reason why I use different time frames is to paint a smaller picture or use small pictures to paint a big picture, right? So, say for example, I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, right? Let me just show you how I would do this. I'm looking at Bitcoin right now and I'm saying, okay, well, Bitcoin's price it needs to get back above this resistance level. It needs to get back above the golden zone. Until it breaks above this golden zone, I'm not going to get bullish again. Now, how do we get there? Well, something must be going on in the shorter time frames that's stalling us. Oh, I can see what's stalling us. We're stuck in these golden Fibonacci bump, these little bounce moments where we're getting dribbled in between. So you see how it's like, okay, well, we need to do this big thing, but in order to get up to this big thing, we have to do this small thing. So whatever happens here will then impact what happens here. And whatever impacts what happens here will impact what happens here. So you use the smaller things to paint the bigger picture, if that makes sense. How do you control your emotions in crypto? You just get used to it. It's the only way you can. I make strategies and I don't break them, guys. I don't, when I'm telling you, when I say I'm gonna do a strategy, I do it and I don't break it. So it's you get used to having emotions going up and down, and then you just have strategy and you stick to them. And sometimes it works out, when was that? What were we at? Let's see. Yesterday at 9 a.m., guys. Yesterday at 9 a.m., whenever Bitcoin and all these cryptos were back up here, and we saw Bitcoin at $90,000, I closed 5% of my entire crypto portfolio because my take profit timer went off. It's a timer I'm developing that tells me when I should take profits. And it told me to take it, so I did. I closed 5% of my entire position. And what happened? Well, the market dumped. I was accident. It's not like I knew that was going to happen. But at the end of the day, I stick to my strategies. I avoid emotions because my emotions didn't want to sell. I even said that here, right? I said I don't want to sell, but I'm going to. I have to stick to my strategy. So, yep, I did some Solana TA already. I can't tell, Lucas, to be honest. If everyone thought that the bull market wasn't over, I would think it was over, right? In my brain, it's okay, the president launched a meme coin, it rug pulled, a whole bunch of big rug pulls happened. Bitcoin had something of a double top. We got the strategic reserve, we got the inauguration, we got everything that we were hoping to get, and the market didn't rally. That smells like a bear market to me. That sounds like the bear market's here. Two things are stopping me from accepting it. One, everyone thinks the bull market is over. 90% of people think the bull market's over. And it's usually not when it's over. It's usually not over when people think it's over. So because of that, I don't think it's over. The second thing is Bitcoin has been very resilient. Bitcoin has held up incredibly well. And the fact that it's holding up so well makes me feel like the altcoins falling is tricking people into thinking the bull market's over to where it can just run back up. So I don't think so, but it could be. Why have I heard the price of Bitcoin can't go under 69,000 in the bear market because of the previous cycle high? That's absolute fucking nonsense. That's nonsense. I'm 20. I turned 24 this year. I'll probably have my first kid at 26. A signal that there's not really one specific thing that I look for, but yeah, Bitcoin falling below falling below 70K would start to make me think it's here. Tyler, could you explain your story as to why you started the school and your journey? Yeah, I mean, very simply, to give you guys a very long story put short, I was a dishwasher 8 years ago. I was absolutely tired of washing dishes. I thought that there was other ways that I can give myself a raise by making money even while I was at work. So I started investing into stocks and dividends. And then my journey in stocks led me into the world of crypto kind of on accident when Bitcoin was in the lower thousands still. I bought a little Bitcoin purely by accident. I literally just thought, everybody else was buying it, so I just bought some. And then I ended up selling it at a 2x at less than $10,000. Throughout that course over the next year or two, I continued to invest into stocks and many real estate investment trusts and things like that. Then a couple of years later, the pandemic hit. I got a bunch of stimulus checks. I got a bunch of unemployment checks because I couldn't work. And I ended up investing all of that into the stock market. I made a solid 2x, 3x on all of my money, which I was probably 19 at the time or so. 18, 19. I took maybe 10K and turned it into 30 or 40K, and then took that 30 or 40K and turned it 50K or 60K. And then I started investing in crypto a ton. So I still had a little bit of ETH left over. It was $100, but not a ton. But I hadn't really looked at crypto for a few years. Now we're at the end of 2020. I started buying more crypto again because like I started to really understand actually why it was valuable, and I wasn't just buying it just because everyone else was. And then the 2021 rally really started. I started buying Bitcoin. I started buying meme coins. I got heavy into meme coins. I really started shifting my content on YouTube back into the world of crypto. And then, yeah, since then, I mean, things really just rallied. That 50K portfolio ended up going all the way up to like 500, 600K. Then it got absolutely wiped. I probably dropped to like 60 or 70 again. So like from 500 back to 60 or 70, basically had to restart, started reinvesting money from the business over the course of that year back into like learning more about YouTube and starting to get better at it. I started an influencer management company in 2022 that just managed a whole bunch of YouTubers and handled marketing campaigns on YouTube for projects. I started doing that. That started doing okay, from, you know, making like a couple $1,000 a month to like a couple tens of thousands a month, and, you know, pushing like 100, 200K a month. And then as I was doing that, I started building up a ton of connections. I had my Patreon, obviously, and then that really started to kind of push as well. And just kind of trying to summarize all this because there's a lot, so much happened in between here. But as the agency was really starting to grow, I brought on some people who could kind of like fill my place, so I didn't have to work on it every single day. So I could jump back into the world of YouTube and start really growing my YouTube stuff again, because I really loved being a content creator a long time ago, but I lost my love for it for a year or so. And then, yeah, about 6 or 7 months ago, I realized that there was a lot of people out there who just truly didn't understand how crypto actually works, and I wanted to create a school. So I started educating people here on the channel, started educating people in my Discord server, then turned the Discord server into a school. Now the school has over 3,000 students. It's one of the biggest in the space, and yeah, here we are. So that's the very, very big picture condensed. There's a lot that's gone in between. You know, a lot of losses. Making, oh yeah, the legs coming up, you guys know what happens, but, you know, making couple mil, losing over $1 million, like it's been a wild ride. Like it's been a wild ride, but we're in a very good spot now. So lessons, corrections, progress. So that's how I see it. Anyway. Much appreciated, Lucas. Hell of a ride, bro. Tyler, what do you think about Wells trying to get us to sell and such to get it cheap and then pump the market up? Very possible. Very possible. I wouldn't put it past them. Okay. The reason why I said it's nonsense, that was mean. I didn't mean that in like to make fun of you. I meant it. People who are saying that Bitcoin can't fall below $69,000 because it's never happened before. That is it. No, I guess I do mean it. That's just nonsensical. Bitcoin's at 86,000 right now. If you don't think it can fall $17,000 out of nowhere, it can, right? We're in an expanding asset class. We're in an expanding asset class that is being introduced to new variables every single day. And so as a result of those new variables being injected, obviously your formula is going to change. And what that means is that Bitcoin will do things it's never done before. Of course it will. So it absolutely can fall below $69,000. Best coin made you money. Solana for sure. By now, I would say, because I was stacking Solana at $20. Because I mean, to put it in perspective, I think I accumulated 300 or 350 Solana roughly at $20. So hell of a play there. Hell of a play there. I'm a beginner, made a mistake to use leverage in futures, got liquidated a few times and lost 3K, which is my monthly salary. Trying to recover half of the loss at least, but losing more. Stop leverage trading. Just don't do that right now. Don't do that right now. Trust. Yo, what up, homie? I know who this is. I don't want to dox you, but I know who this is. It was really just us at one point, like us and like 3 other guys. Shout out to you. Tyler, I'm asking as far as Solana and bear markets are. When is the time to start to accumulate for the next big run? And how would you go about buying on the downtrend? Have about 300K to 400K USDC. I think the smartest thing to do is just start now. I mean, I'm no financial advisor. Don't take this as financial advice. You sue me, I'm going to be pissed. And you'll lose. But I'm going to be pissed. But like the way that I see it is like, you can never know. You can never know if we're at the bottom of this little temporary bear market, right? Like, who would have thunk, realistically, like who'd have thought back here that this was the end, right? That, you know, this was the bottom. and we're about to rally, and then we go into a bear market, right? So the best thing to do, just like I said back here, just start slowly buying now, because you never know. Yeah, the bear market could have started back here, and we could have just went down, and all those purchases would have been negative, but it's not what happened. We started going, and so you never know if we're about to do this or if we're about to do this. But the reality of it is that if you just start slowly getting in now, if we go down, you can buy so much more that your average cost is going to fall so fast. It's like you didn't buy here. Or we're going to go up, and then you get to take some profits off the table. And then when we go down, the big one, then you can start buying some. So just slowly DCAing in now makes a lot more sense than trying to time the bear market, because you never really know when it's coming. Tyler, talk about Solana's future price prediction. It's hard to tell, honestly. I still think Solana's going to hit $500 one day. That would make sense. I haven't looked at the macro Elliott's waves on Bitcoin from that perspective, but again, if what they're saying is that it can't happen for us to still be in a bull market, I kind of understand. I kind of agree, but saying can't is insane. But saying Bitcoin cannot as a whole go below 69 cents again, or 69K, it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I don't know, but that does not sound like a good idea. Taking a loan out on your house to buy Bitcoin will only, I mean, it might work. That's just, fuck that. I wouldn't do that. Probably not top 10. You got it, champ. Tyler, have you 100x leverage? I have before. Not with a lot of money, though. What do you think Bitcoin will hit in the bear market? Probably like 30, 40K. Can you explain different ways of taking profit? Sure. So you can, let me think. There's a couple of different ways you can take profit. You can either take profit in a bullish scenario, which means the market is just pumping. You look for either signals to be overbought. You either look for things to be like too high, too heated, too fast. You just look for a certain percentage, right? Like you're up 100% or you're up 150. Then you sell it when it's pumping. That's option one. That's a great option. Option number two is you do what's called a trailing stop loss, which means that you say, okay, well, I opened up this trade and Bitcoin is now up a ton. If at any point Bitcoin falls 10%, I'll close my trade, I'll take my profits, I'll leave. That's called a trailing stop loss. It's one of the most effective ways to be able to take profits, but if you're emotional, you'll move your stop loss down or you'll remove your trailing stop loss and cost yourself a lot of profit, which is why I usually tell beginners to just go the first route and just sell on green days. The third way of doing it is called market structure break, in which you let a crypto run and you determine where an invalidation level is, right? Which is similar to a trailing stop loss. But what you'll say is, okay, well, if Bitcoin at any point falls below $69,000, that invalidates the bull market. Therefore, I'm going to sell right there. So you're taking profits once the market structure is breaking. I don't love that, but it's not a bad one. I think in order for a beginner, I would definitely start with just taking profit on green days. If you're more advanced, I would look for invalidation levels to set trailing stop losses, especially from a percentage or a time perspective. And if you're a little advanced, I would say just kind of diving deeper into the trailing stop loss perspective. That's the way that I would go about it. That's what I do. Whenever I'm taking profits, though, to be honest, I keep it very basic, very simple. I literally just say, okay, fuck it, I'm going to sell. I do have some models that I am working on creating. I have one time model that says, after a certain period of time, it's a good idea to take profit. I also have certain like milestones that I like to reach, like, hey, every 5% I'll take a little bit of profit off the table. So I do things like that, but I do keep it very simple generally. So, okay. Tyler, one more question that burns in my mind. When all the great coins are dropping, why are the other coins pumping like 30 to 50%? Usually those are micro caps, but it's just a liquidity trade, right? There are still retail investors in the market, and those retail investors are looking for opportunities. So you're going to still see some altcoins pump out of nowhere because everybody's jumping on the gravy train, revenge trading, trying to make some of their money back. But that's the reason why a lot of those pumps that go against the market don't last long, is because all they are full of people who are trying to, how do you explain it? Like, they're trying to fight the trend, and they're trying to just revenge trade to get their money back. So that's that. I know many traders better than me. I'm not fantastic. I'm not exceptional at trading. I'm just good at it, I think. I think Robinhood is a good app to do some dollar cost averaging on, but I wouldn't I wouldn't trade on it. Options are different, obviously. All right, guys, please enter your last set of questions. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this bad boy up real quick. I'm gonna do a full shill for you. I'm gonna shill you all of the links that are down below that I want you to check out when we close up the stream. So while you are typing in your questions right now, let me go on a little shill fest, and then I'm gonna answer the last few questions. I'm gonna order some chicken wings, and I'm gonna go watch these UFC fights in a little while here. Okay. First things first. If you guys do like the content, I really do ask that you smash the like button so more people see this even after the stream ends, and you go follow me on Twitter at TylerHillYT. You can get a ton of content from me every single day on what's happening here in the market from an analysis perspective and a news perspective. The same goes for my Instagram, TylerHillYT_. You can get a bunch of extra content from me, my thoughts and opinions on things like that, and some behind the scenes look on my story, post every single day. If you are an experienced trader and an experienced trader only, go to the link to BTCC down below. You can get a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. This means if you deposit $10,000, they're going to give you $1,000 on the spot to start trading with, and whatever money you make with that $1,000 is yours to keep, no strings attached. This is literally free money, but again, only if you're an experienced trader. Go check it out. Very good platform to trade on. It's available for you there. If you want something for free, there's a free beginner's guide down below. If you are brand new to the world of crypto, it'll teach you all about all of the basics for investing in a crypto. And there's also one a little bit more experience for more experienced people called Beyond the Basics, where you can learn some extra stuff about crypto as well, indicators, leverage trading, and much more. And then last but not least, if you do want to be able to see the things that I am doing, I'm buying, I'm selling, I'm a whole bunch of other stuff. In addition to that, if you want to see, coaching and classes and live streams, workshops, daily research, deep dives, get access to a beginner's course, which has all of this stuff in it, guys. I mean, so many different valuable lessons. If you want access to all of that, go check out some of the different tiers over in the Crypto Strategy School, which is linked down below. I am one of the co-founders, and we did start this ourselves. So feel free to go check that out. All of those things are down there for you. And yeah, I think that's about it for all my shilling that I can think of. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Okay, so let's answer a couple more questions, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Hey, Tyler, how do you think this recent summit news will affect Monday Open? Hard to tell, honestly, hard to tell, but I don't think that it's going to have a gigantic impact, to be honest. People were expecting to be disappointed, so... Have you mined Pi for free? Have been accumulating for a while just by clicking a button. Pretty wild. No, I haven't. Honestly. I just didn't really ever look into it and really get all that interested by it. Thoughts on virtuals? Thinking of cutting losses down 40%. I mean, that's reasonable, but you have to understand, right? Like, the AI space is going to have macro pullbacks. It's all about seeing if it can recover from it. So I'm just going to sit back and see how it handles this first pullback before I go make any big moves. Okay. Binance put listing Pi to a community vote. Do you think they will actually list it if it has a high community interest? Seems like they're really hated on it at launch, but seems to be forced to pay attention to it. I don't know, to be honest. I haven't really paid much attention to the Binance community, so I don't know how they're feeling. But I think they'll hold up to their word. Why nobody here cares about lizard people, only crypto? Caspa price prediction? I don't have one. I'm sorry. Okay, thanks. I thought I was investing in wrong coins at the moment. Please keep great videos, man. It really helps me out. Happy to help, homie. Happy to help. All love. Soul might go under $100, yes. I don't think it will. I don't think it won't. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Bitcoins first. Where do you think Solana will go if this bull market, if it keeps going up, of course? $400. Remember when everyone was saying that it was going to go to 1,000, and I was like, how about we calm down and try to get to 400 first? Well, here we are. I had a $36,000 portfolio, lost 34K real fuck. In trading, what would you do with the remaining 2K from here if you were me? I would probably take 1,500 and invest it into really very safe long-term things, because you've been through a lot and you need to reset those fucking emotions a bit. And then I would take that $500 and slowly maybe get back into trading if my goal is to trade. I wouldn't trade with more than 0.5% of my total portfolio in every single trade that I do. And you need to prioritize learning. You need to figure out what the hell happened for you to lose 34K and never do it again. Use a very tiny amount. We're talking $10, $15, $20 a trade with that $500. I mean, fuck, no, definitely not. I'm $10, $5 a trade, something like that. And $5 probably. a trade and just start learning. And over time, start slowly building that portfolio up bigger and bigger. And then if you're gonna stay leverage trading, do that. But the reality of it is that if you lost $34,000 of $36,000, you need to clean up all those skills before doing anything else, right? I do not keep leverage trading. Do not keep leverage trading on big amounts. Do not keep leverage trading on high amounts. Nothing like that. You gotta reset. You gotta reset all the way from the bottom. Refine your fundamentals. Refine your basics. Go back to the core. Relearn your principles. Create a new strategy. Test that strategy. Demo trade. Start from the bottom. And if you do not do these things, you are going to lose the rest of it. Simple as that. Simple as that. You will lose the rest of it. Start slow, start small, build time, and patience is fucking expensive. Don't make that mistake again. You don't deserve to be treated that way by yourself. Don't make that mistake again. Do you consider averaging the ETH inflows? In my opinion, that might be a good resistance zone. ETH buyers will not sell in the negative. Yeah, I think it's super reasonable. I don't love ETH anymore, especially after I went to ETH Denver and realized how much of the community is pissed off at the Ethereum Foundation for not really helping at all. So I'm not in love with ETH, that's for sure. But the fact that all of these institutions are buying it makes me keep mine. So I don't really trade meme coins or buy meme coins or much right now. I'll do one at like 1% of the time. I'll involve myself with meme coins, but just not much. Not right now, really. Absolutely, Kensha. You got this, bro. You got this. Just lock the fuck in and don't treat yourself poorly. Don't treat yourself poorly. And if you keep leverage trading on high leverage, you are treating yourself poorly. You don't deserve that. Yeah, holding them is fine. I wouldn't really be buying a lot right now, to be honest. So you'd be rinsed from crypto if it wasn't for YouTube. No, not really. Like I said, I took my stocks using kind of stocks and some trading. I ran all the way to 70K. And then I ran from 70K to 500K. But after I ran from 500K, I was still at 70K or so. So like a lot of the positions that I had back in 2021 are still open and they're up like anywhere from 4 to 5x. But those are just those ones. That doesn't include what I accumulated through the bear market. So my YouTube channel helped me accumulate through the bear market, but I still had those bags open from 2021. What's the difference between retail and institutional? Retail are just people like you and me. Institutions and smart money are people who have, like fuck you money or are using other people's money. I'm DCA and this lizard beef stew at the moment is going to be good. You want some of this, man? Yeah, hell yeah, save me some. Yo, that's nuts. Why is Chainlink such a bad performer considering it's the best project except XRP? Well, that's speculative. That's subjective, obviously. But people just aren't too excited about it. Tyler's too diversified for that now for the most part. Yeah, definitely. 20% of my net worth is in crypto. At one point it was 70. I've made it a very strong point to diversify. Just because obviously my businesses are in crypto, my YouTube channel is in crypto. I don't need to have everything exposed to crypto as like, that's just not a good idea. I have a wife now. I'm gonna have kids in a few years. I need to just like not fully degen this shit anymore. So obviously, like I told you guys, we bought the 10plex up in Michigan. We bought a couple rentals around my city. I've been doing a lot of investing into VOO and SPY. So I've diversified a good bit for sure. All righty. Any more last minute questions or we're going to rock and roll? I don't really have a price prediction for Jasmine Coin, but I do think it'll still have a future. Well, who knows, right? Who knows? It could go down to $60. All right, everybody. Well, look, we're at 2 hours in. We did a 4-hour stream yesterday. We spent the first hour of today's stream just full education mode. So if you did just join in, go back. I taught you all about Fibonacci's, extensions, all that good stuff. So I like the stream today. Half education, half hanging out, answering questions. And I hope you guys did enjoy it too. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget, if you do like this video, more people will see it on their homepage. You're going to get recommended my videos more often. It is actually helpful. So I would appreciate it. And do subscribe to the channel if you have been enjoying it. Don't forget to go check out the Crypto Strategy School, which is linked down below. Don't forget to go sign up for BTCC if you are a trader. Go get your 2 free guides, your beginner's guide and your beyond the basics guide. Go follow me on Instagram at TylerHillYT_ and on Twitter at TylerHillYT. And don't forget, again, drink your water. But with that said, guys, I appreciate you all for joining in. I have a video coming out tomorrow that's basically like, is this a bull market, or is the bull market over? Where I'm going to give the pros and the reasons I do and don't believe that the bull market is over. So if you are looking forward to that, do let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, be very careful. Bit of an odd market right now. Impatience is incredibly expensive, and you don't want to make that mistake. So stay frosty, enjoy some time, learn some more stuff, and I'll see you all very soon. Peace out, everybody.